Welcome, everyone, to the Predictive Playbook. We're at Manny's Sports Irish Pub, and this, of course, is the Manny's Irish Pub Sports Betting Show. And we have put together one hell of a record here over the last 40 shows. Yesterday, we did well again. I have not updated the record accordingly, but we're cruising at about a 32.5% ROI. And for those that don't know what that means, that is return on investment. And the reason we use that is because of moneyline sports like Major League Baseball and the NHL, and professionals like us like to play more underdogs than favorites, which means that percentage-wise, we sometimes can go 48%, even worse, and still make a pile of cash. And before we get started here, I think, there he is. We have the doctor in the house. The doctor. I'll wait till he gets set up. Now, this is proof positive that he is a doctor. There's no question. I mean, it could be a Halloween outfit. They're pretty popular.
I have a couple cents to throw in as soon as you bring him in the room. Because I'm going to bring him in now, I think. Yeah,
are you ready, Dr. Chuck? No, he's shaking. Oh, no, I lost him. He's going to come back. All right, so speaking of moneyline sports, we have one hell of a baseball game taking place tonight, and I do have a pretty big play on it, so I'm going to not really divulge, I guess. Maybe I will if you guys get me fired up enough. But it's starting. The word is it sucks for the Dodgers. It just plain sucks for the Dodgers. How can they set the all-time record for a reigning World Series champion, and yet they lose and they're out one game after winning 106.
Why does that suck? Those are the rules.
You shouldn't be penalized like that. You really shouldn't.
They're not being penalized. They're being rewarded
by playing probably arguably the hottest team in baseball right now.
The Cardinals? They're being rewarded. This isn't a one and in. This is a gimme and in.
A gimme.
A gimme.
Wow. You mean like a gummy bear or something, or
like a gimme? Like, listen, we're gonna put you on. We got to fill some advertising, and we got to fill this slot. So we're gonna act like we're throwing a 17-70, 25-year-old Wainwright, future closer, future World Series MVP, and we're going to pretend like this is going to be a game. We're going to build this up so that only Humpty Dumpty is allowed to sit on top of the wall. And when he comes crashing down, there ain't no putting him back together.
Humpty Dumpty was a fictitious character.
And what's that have to do with anything?
Well, I don't know why that makes any sense.
My story. That was my story. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it.
Doctor,
what the hell? What's that get up you got on? What is that?
I was at the Halloween store last night. I picked this up.
Well, but guess what? They didn't tell you before you came on the air, but you forgot to comb your hair.
No, I didn't. This is combed. This is
it's a new look.
It's the camera angle.
I'm trying to look like Jesse.
Well, no.
Even everybody.
You guys do kind of look like, yep. I see the resemblance.
All right. So
okay, let's go back to.
I like the Dodgers. I like the Dodgers too, Tony. But that's not at all John's point.
Oh yeah, it is. That's John's point is that he thinks just because they won 100 games and they won more games than any returning World Series champion in the history of champions means that they're entitled or they get a free pass. And then guess what? They had a worse record than San Francisco. They're the wild card team.
So Tony, would you be opposed to 1 through 15 in each conference?
I'm opposed to every bit of that shit. I want you win your division. You win your division, you're in. You don't win your division, you ain't in.
I like the win percentage.
Well, yeah. If we want to do that, we'll play rotisserie fantasy baseball, and there's no divisions. There's one. Whoever has the best metrics at the end of the season, they get to
like the NBA
they
does.
get to kiss the.
Do you have that same
girl carrying the trophy?
You have that same opinion in the NBA then? You're against 1 through 15?
The NBA is exactly that.
It's not that at all.
But you have a division winner, but then the matchups are based on win.
So let me ask you this then. You're saying it's not that. Okay, let me ask something. Let's say the division winner has a worse record than a second place in another division. Who gets, who and the team that had a better record in second place in that division, where are they placed compared to the team that won the division? Where are they? Above them or below them?
Well,
yeah, forget it.
You'd have to have strength of schedule equal.
No. Stop with strength of schedule.
82 games. I think it's pretty close.
Strength of schedule is an impossible equation. It doesn't have an answer because it's relative.
But you mentioned this point.
Yes.
In the NFL, they use it because look at the game one, Dallas. Tampa Bay's the Super Bowl champion. They're supposed to play the toughest teams, and they get Dallas in week one.
It's not how it works. It's first place. Listen, it's first place. If you live first place, you have a first place schedule. It's all structured, and it's all solely dependent on where other teams finish in their division. So we're back to what I'm saying. No, rotisserie. If you win, if you get the best record, you get the best metrics. The girl with the trophy kisses you, hands it to you. Then she tells you how much she costs, and that's the end of the season.
Perhaps we should have a 3-game series for the wild card instead of a do or die.
Okay, listen, I'm all for the to the death do we part kind of thing.
I like John's point, though. I mean, it's hard for the Dodgers to be positive about where they're at right now.
Wow.
Given how good they've been.
I have to respectfully disagree with you guys. I mean, listen, there's no better scenario right now than being a wild card. The team that's been, that got the the broken Coke bottle stuck up their arse. Everything is so dreary. The clouds won't go away. The sun won't come out. We have Mad Max going up against in the history of Mad Max against the lineups tonight. Possible lineups tonight. His slash line would be 128, 169, 189 with an OPS of 346. He's got a K to BB ratio of 58-4 against the St. Louis Cardinals potential back. Not 58-4. And in 178 at-bats, 1 home run hits against him with this lineup. Goldie hitting 156. 156. Molina hitting 056. With all the players have 10 or more at-bats against they're in the St. Louis Lions. Not one of them hit 250. One's hitting 250. The rest are crap. The umpire fits Scherzer like a glove. We know he's going to get his face in the camera, retiring at the end of the season. Maybe it's postseason too late. Joe West Country Joe behind the plate. Well, Wainwright does get some swing and misses if his curveball is working great and he's putting it and burying it perfectly. He's not going to get any calls on the black. Scherzer doesn't need calls on the black.
That's right. Joe West is home plate.
That's correct. Every single variable, every single metric falls into the Dodgers dugout. If they can't win tonight, they don't even deserve. They should have to walk home from Chavez Ravine. No rides, no limos, no dancing girls. Walk the F home. That's just my opinion. I'm not worth much, but I like talking about it.
But I guess I agree 100% what you're saying.
That's a strong way I feel about it, and also, it's everybody knows. It's like the three of us. We walk into a bar, and listen, we just did 10 years in prison, and we were released because we were found that we were wrongly convicted, and we go in there and we drink till we can't walk, and then the waitress brings us a bill and says, here's your tab, sir. Thanks for and one of us says, I don't know, have a tab. She says, well, did you drink the yeah, but I just listen, I've been wronged. My life is miserable. I shouldn't have to pay this tab. Bullshit. We all know the rules. Everybody knows the rules. The Dodgers know the rules. They get one game. They win. They get to go to the division series. Wrong or right?
So what you're saying is like,
you didn't like that analogy? You didn't like that analogy?
I'm trying to. What were you going to say, Justin?
I take your point on the statistics in favor of the Dodgers, and that's all valid if Scherzer's at his best tonight. Probably little chance for the Cardinals. But is there any indication, Tony, that Scherzer might not be at his best tonight?
No indication whatsoever. The last game, listen, he was not sharp last game. But let me tell you, his metrics, last two, I mean, his metrics, but two, every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds an acorn or a fat pig rolls over and sees a truffle. Every once in a while, a team will get to Scherzer. However, last start was on extra rest, 6 days of rest. Scherzer's metrics, for instance, he's 8-2, 1.75 ERA with a 0.83 WHIP on regular rest. When he's in his routine, 5 days rest this year. 17-7 Wainwright, and he was pitching on 6 days last time. He just wasn't sharp. Nothing. It didn't help that he had 3 errors behind him. It didn't help that he had some seeing eye singles. It didn't help that he wasn't. His slider wasn't that sharp. It wasn't. He did not command it very well. Okay. Wainwright, 17-7. Of his 7 losses, 5 of those losses, 5 came on extra rest. Mr. Wainwright's pitching extra rest tonight. Extra rest for a curveball pitcher is not good. Johnson, pitching coach, here's what happens when you're strong. The stronger you are, you may think more revolutions. The stronger you are, typically an overthrow, but for a guy that is a finesse and an 89, 90, 91 mile an hour curveball pitcher in this Major League Baseball, you have to be absolutely almost perfect to beat the Dodgers lineup and Joe West. My opinion. So is Scherzer going to be short? I think between the two of them, with the situation, with the variables, with the metrics, and this is Bulldog Scherzer. God forbid Dave Roberts comes out to the mound before Scherzer's done pitching. He'll decide when he's done pitching. If Dave Roberts comes out and tries to pull this Bulldog out, it is on. I cannot wait to see that drama.
It will be drama too, because
sure as hell will be.
He'll leave him in. He'll go out and talk to him and say,
"Oh, he won't even go. He won't go. He won't go within 50 yards of that mound. He'll send out He'll send somebody else. Dave Roberts not going to that mound and mess with Scherzer before it's time. Before Scherzer says it's time."
I agree.
And I love talking about this stuff. And I know I'm a little animated. And I know I'm opinionated, but I believe it. I believe it. This is what I'm an old man. I've seen it happen. I've seen Scherzer. And he's not the guy. Listen, between innings, Scherzer's the guy that no one says anything to Scherzer. It doesn't matter whether he's pitching good or bad. No one talks to Scherzer. Why? Because Scherzer says, ain't no one talking to you. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't tap me. Don't touch me. Do not get in my orbit. It's true.
Okay, so Mr. Wainwright is a pretty darn good pitcher in his own right. I actually saw him, I think it was the last Phillies playoff game, actually. It was a sad inning because, my God, Ryan Howard had his Achilles.
That was 100 years ago.
Okay, well, that was a 1-0 game in a game 6.
He was a closer. Wainwright was a closer then.
No, he was starting. He pitched the whole game.
What year was this?
2011. Complete game. 1-0.
He started in 2011. I'll have to look at. Listen. Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
All right. So currently, this season, in the second half of this season, Wainwright 17-4 versus a National League team batting 245 or lower. He's 11-1.
Screw that.
Against teams batting 245 or lower in the second half of this season. He's 18-7 versus a team batting 250 or worse for the entire season.
All those metrics. What is it if he ate at McDonald's lunch today? What is he when he ate at McDonald's too on that day?
Wainwright's 21-8 against powerful home run hitting teams like the Dodgers in the second half of the season.
It's too subjective. It's too subjective. What is Wainwright? Let me tell you what Wainwright is. What is Wainwright lifetime against Max Scherzer? I know. What is it? What is he? Matt, listen, tonight, just for the shits and grins, pizza money, Scherzer, over a half total base, plus 335. Lifetime Scherzer is 1 for 3 against Wainwright. And with Joe West behind the plate, a walk is not impossible, plus 335. Scherzer, over a half total bases.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think everything you're saying is listen, that's data and measurements against measurements. And I use those if they're sports related, but I am telling you, even some of the metrics I've given you, and Scherzer, what his numbers are against some of the guys in that lineup, although most of them are relatively recent, within the last 5 years, all those numbers. What I did was I went back 7 years ago, to see what Scherzer's metrics were then at this time of year, or at least in September, end of September. And in truth, he probably should win the National League Cy Young, although I want Buehler to win it because I had money on Buehler. But he should probably win the Cy Young. His metrics are as good then as they are now. He's smarter. He doesn't have – listen, he probably can't go out and bulldog 9 innings like he could 7 years ago, But God forbid, Dave Roberts go to the mound in the 3rd inning just because he doesn't like what he sees. Well, that needs to be filmed, and it can be a movie can be made out of that shit. I am telling you.
That's reality TV at its finest.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
You might see some F-bombs too.
MLB postseason. This time of year, North American sports at its best. Hockey guys will be mad at me. They'll say, no, it's just exhibition. NBAers will be saying no, or CBBs, college basketball guys. But truthfully, Monday through Friday this time of year, we get baseball every night. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we get football. And then we still have some football, that leaks out into the weekend. But this is one of my favorite times. As much as I love baseball, I get baseball during the weeknights, something to watch while I'm working, and football all day Saturday, Sunday. That's about as good as it gets in my world. Unless somebody's got a Quaalude, then it gets better.
Well, I mean, I guess there's always a good thing to have.
What?
I just have, this is all intuition. I'm not giving away my play tonight, but I just, there's a lot of shit that can go wrong for the Dodgers tonight.
Well, listen, there's a lot of things there's a lot of things wrong. I'm going to go to the mailbox here as soon as the show's done because I'm expecting some mail. I can get run over. Damn, a lot of things can go wrong from me going to the mailbox. Chances are they're not. Not if I'm the smallest bit careful and I look both ways, especially when I live in a circle drive. How the hell, what's the chance of getting run over? But shit happens. I agree. Listen, things could really happen. Scherzer can go out. Who knows? He trips, he falls, he gets hit by a line drive in the first batter. Then Scherzer's not around, right? Then we're dealing with basically an opener. Somebody's going to come in. We're going to have pitcher after pitcher. Hopefully Dave Roberts makes the right decisions, et cetera, et cetera. Anything can happen. That's the beauty of one, as you guys are talking, that's the beauty of one and done. It's the beauty of it. However, I don't buy, and I apologize if you think I'm being I'm not picking on John or anybody else. I'm picking on anybody that wants to challenge me on this. They knew the rules. You win the division, you get the number 1 seed as long as you have the best record. You don't, then there's no guarantee you're even going to be a wild card, which is I'm okay. I don't like the wild card. I don't think it does anything. It adds a couple games for you and I and us, maybe a little bit more work for us to contemplate and cipher and call Jed Clampett and see if we can talk to Jethro about the math on this and that. But in truth, I would just be fine with division winners.
I got a question for you, Tony.
Sure, go for it, man.
So, if the Cardinals lose tonight, are they going to claim that they got cheated? Are they going to claim that there was some grand injustice? Or are they going to say we lost to the better team and that's baseball? And if the Dodgers lose tonight, are they going to claim that they were cheated? Are they going to say, oh, we shouldn't have been in this position?
Well, if any of them do claim they were cheated, then I'll come on the show tomorrow and this is what I'll say. F the sissy bitch that said that, because he too knows the rules. And if he doesn't like what I said about him, 4420 Lilac Glen, Las Vegas, 89129. Tell him to come over. I got a big dog. I got clubs. I got golf clubs. I got bats.
I can tell you there's going to be a lot of journalists that'll say the Dodgers were cheated.
Oh, well, that's because
they end up getting eliminated in this one game.
I will say this. No journalist I know, I don't believe any journalist I know is going to spend 4 or 5 hours writing that column. But I'm quite certain you're right. There will be somebody that will, because that's what we do. Our speech is kind of funny. You know, I don't waste time on listen, I had a dead winner last night. I'm under in that game last night. And I get a nothing burger home run that barely squeaks through the foul pole. I get a push on my total. It's 6-2 rather than 6-1. But guess what? That's not a bad beat. I pushed. Even if I lost it, it's not even a bad loss. I am accountable for what I shove to my clients and what I play. And whatever happens, happens. All that comes around. How many times have I been benefited from something like that? In the end, it all washes.
But not in the last game of the season, not in the last game of your betting career, per se.
Well, what do you mean by the last bet? Oh, look, it's not my last bet. If I die, then it's
tonight, that's a bad beat, right? Everybody's going to say that was a miracle by St. Louis.
No.
But
well, they can say what they want.
Dodgers can then, to your analogy of being a better, okay, you get bad beats during the course of the season. You lay eggs as a baseball team during the season. Mm-hmm. You do what the Boston and Philadelphia teams did and lose 3 out of 4 to Baltimore. One of the worst teams in baseball. That's not good, right?
That is exactly what you should expect, don't you think? It is, in my experience, I would rather, as a manager, if I'm in the last 3 games of the season and I need to win 2 of the 3, regardless, just to hold serve where I'm at in standings, I would much rather be facing the 27 Yankees than I would the 2021 Baltimore Orioles. Why? Because the Baltimore Orioles in the last series of a season are the most dangerous team on the planet. There's nothing predictable. They're Major League Baseball players. The professionals that get paid to play. They are talented. I get goosebumps when I hear someone, and I will tell you why the goosebumps come. But when I hear somebody else say to the bar, someone will say that son of a bitch couldn't, shoot a basketball. I couldn't, he couldn't make that pass if his life depended on it. I'm talking about an NBA player. The guys at the end of the NBA bench are not only one of the top 200 athletes in the world, they are damn good basketball players. And to call them, say, that they're a worthless piece of crap and they shouldn't, is about as stupid a comment as you can make. It's so uninformed, it's unintelligent, and it's idiotic. And the same thing goes for the Baltimore Orioles aren't a very good team. Collectively, they're not a very good team. They haven't been, and they showed that with their record. And in many situations throughout the season. But I'm telling you right now, Baltimore beat me a few times this year and beat me bad, beat me up, and embarrassed me. And here's what I say to that. I don't want to face them in a do or die. I don't want to face a team that has nothing to lose. I don't want to get into a fight. I don't want to get into a bar fight with a guy who's about ready to be sentenced to death row. Are you effing kidding me? What does this man have? You want to be in a fight with a guy who has some appreciation of life? Or you're probably Jesse, you're probably in the wrong fight.
Or at least the wrong room.
That's right. So but your point is well taken, John, and that is people look at it that way. So-and-so guy look at the schedule. So these guys are professional players, man. They're good. They are athletes. Unless they're a pitcher, they are athletes. Unless they look like Babe Ruth when he was 40 or 35. My point is this: these guys are athletes, world-class athletes, and they are the best at a trade that, to say the least, I dare, I beg, I invite any of those who don't agree with me to stand at the plate and face 4 miles an hour fastball, and not only focus on trying to hit it do that and try to get the hell out of the way when you see and when you have fractions of, when you have you have no time it's to hit that ball. Hitting a baseball period is and hitting it with quality contact, difficult thing to do, one of the most difficult things in the world to do, especially when a guy's throwing movement 100-mile-an-hour fastball that has 3 or 4 inches of movement. Try seriously, guys. What do you think you're going to hit for an average in a major league season against that? If I have 10 hits, and 600 at bats, I would say that's a good season. Yeah. And I couldn't hit a curveball. I could hit. I could pitch. I could throw. I had a pretty good arm. I couldn't hit a curveball. And I never cared to, never practiced. I just liked to play when I played, you know. But once I hit Legion level, you know, but kind of that area between high school and college, they didn't. My coach knew. Well, I'll stick to you. I pitched when we were short of pitchers, and I was a pretty good pitcher. But I'm telling you, unless you throw me all fastballs, I'm done. I'm toast. And it wasn't because I got hit by plenty of pitches. I didn't mind getting hit. In fact, I'll take one for the team. But I couldn't square off. I couldn't foul a fucking curveball off. A good one. Just couldn't do it. So I have a lot of admiration and respect for these guys. The minor leaguers. Listen, we talked a little bit. I don't know if it's you, John. I mentioned the conditions. Listen, these minor leaguers, unless they've had, once they come out of high school or out of college, unless they're, you know, a 4th round, 5th round pick or less, you know, somebody's got to support them while they're going to support themselves in the off season with a job that they can save money so they can spend their savings to survive minor league camp housing. It's they just raised it. Jesse, what do you think a minor leaguer, high A or B, a high A ball gets? What do you think he makes a week? You know,
400.
Yeah, it was last year 300, less than $350. They raised it. Now it's 500 a week. But you can't, poverty. That's poverty.
You know, if they lived in Canada, they get more than that for free from the government.
Oh yeah, I'm there, buddy. You got a room? I'm there.
And then you have an NBA basketball player who won't get his vaccination, and he's going to basically be giving up $40,000 per shot attempt. I figured out.
Yeah. Well. Okay. Yeah. Well, what do you think? What do you think? What did Lindor get paid per at bat this year?
What is what?
What did Lindor make per at bat for each at bat plate appearance? Lindor, how much did he get paid?
$10,000.
$51,000 and at bat.
I mean,
51,000. So, and what do you think a guy? I don't have to say it. $500 a week is tough to listen for guys that are supposed to dress well and be responsible and basically be a reflection of the team as a whole. $500, dude. Listen, I'm not shaving. I'm probably eating I'm probably eating Little Debbie's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I'm probably hanging out at the bar exit. So as soon as someone comes out of the bar and they set their beer or drink down, I'm taking it and running it, and then maybe I can survive 500 a week. So I don't know. I'm having fun with this, but the truth of the matter is that nothing. We live in America. It's democracy, and either you like democracy and you like what comes along with it, or you don't, or you learn. There's lots of things that aren't fair, and there's lots of if you work hard, that typically things come to you. They become exponential. But my point is this, and that is, like the Dodgers, they know the rule. All of us know the rules. There are rules, and we don't have to follow the rules, but there's consequences to everything we do. There are. So what we do, we're accountable for. We're supposed to be, and we will be. At some point in time, you're always, if I do something, I'm thinking I'm the worst person in the world. I tell myself that every day. I do something. I say, man, you're such a bad person. Because it's in my way of at least trying to remind myself that I need to be better. not just at this business, but a better dad, a better son, a better husband. And all those things are difficult to do. We're not always perfect, but these guys all know the rules. And so to bitch about this being an injustice, the one game after you win those that numbers, is bullshit. It's absolute and utter bullshit. It's a waste of time, waste of energy, and a waste of oxygen or cyberspace on the internet, because you know the rules. If you don't like the rules, then go home. Go home and flip burgers, because what these guys do is they're deserving of it because of their skill set. But there has to be some reciprocation there, and they have to appreciate that as well. They have to appreciate what they have.
Well, Tony, you said that you spend a lot of time trying to be a better person.
Well, I don't spend near enough time, but go ahead. I want to hear you.
A better father. But do you think every pro ball player does that with their time?
I don't think everyone does what I do. I mean, I don't expect them to, Jesse, but I know this much. Every day that goes by in my life, and I'm 61, every day, and it's in the last, since some things, things happen in your life that become, whether they're epiphanies, whatever you want to call them, but things happen in people's lives that some things become more important than others. And for me, I just don't think I'm a very good. I tell myself all the time, I'm not a very good person. So it's just my way of it's a corrective. It's a corrective measure so that maybe I'll stop and think about what I release to a client or what I say to my wife.
To do when people aren't feeding your ego all the time. It's very difficult to do when people are constantly.
I agree. No, you're absolutely
telling
right.
you you're the greatest. You're getting paid millions of dollars every season.
Touche. That makes life even more difficult to be a good person. It truthfully does. And those who are, what we hear and what we see, what we read, what we feel, that isn't necessarily accurate either. So I don't know. I try not to be too judgmental. And I'm not very judgmental. What you do in your house is your business, Jesse. It really is. As long as you're not threatening, my children or me or my wife, it's your business, dude. And I think anyone who thinks they have the right to infringe on that, needs to move to China.
So you're not calling for Urban Meyer to get fired?
What's that?
You're not calling for Urban Meyer to get fired?
Absolutely not. I just call him an idiot. That's what I say. I mean, listen, he probably needs to do a little more of what I do. And that is, I'm a bad person. If he probably had another 2 minutes to think about that, it may never have happened. You get caught up, and as a human being, we get caught up in the moment of certain things. And then all of a sudden we know we've slid into a dimension, into a spot, into a place, into a nanosecond that we never wanted to be in. And there's the way out is hard to find sometimes. You've been there. We all have,
However,
what?
We have a different type of job and responsibility. I think a college coach has the responsibility of teaching his young men things that they will take on into their lives. And
he's not a college coach.
I found a video yesterday. Well, he's a professional coach. So what? He's supposed to be a leader, right?
Well, you're absolutely right. He's the boss.
He told Trevor Lawrence not to go to Vegas for his bachelor party.
That's right.
And then when he decided to go, he said, just be careful out there.
I don't think I made that. I don't think that. What I said was very clear, though. And this is, it happens. He's an idiot.
Well,
it happens. It happens to all of us. We find in just the most smallest of time period, a nanosecond, we've got ourselves in a situation where the slide in was simple. The way out is difficult.
But
so how do you not slide? It's impossible not to. Do you catch yourself? My point is this.
Tony, did you see the beginning of that video?
Let's be better, huh? What?
Did you see I don't think you've seen the very beginning of his video. I actually discovered it yesterday when I was on the show.
I don't have to see it because I know. You don't think I haven't been there in that situation?
No excuse for where his hand was.
No
excuse.
What? None.
And also, denying it.
It doesn't. Listen, it happens. But here's the deal. Everywhere, somewhere.
Sorry, honey, I was drunk and I didn't realize my hand was there.
Somewhere, this very second, someone's penis is in some man's wife's vagina, and it shouldn't be there.
But he doesn't. He's not a professional coach making.
It doesn't matter.
$15 million a year.
Now, I'm not going to put a higher standard on him because of his profession. I just want him to be a good person.
But he's representing the brand.
I want to be kind. I want to be considerate. If he meets my daughter, I want him to say, "I know your dad. I like your dad. He can be an asshole, but he's okay." I want him to do that, not put his hand on my daughter's ass. That's all I ask.
Bill Clinton was a president, and he survived, right?
That's right. Yes. Oh, he didn't just survive. He got filthy rich of it because of it. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is this. Everyone listening, I am a bad person.
We should probably switch topics to the Auburn game now.
And guess what? Urban Meyer was a bad person in that moment. And I assure you, this is not hammered. It happens.
Hammered.
It happens. And the
President Clinton wasn't hammered, though.
I don't know. As far as I know, he may still had some freeze-dried Quaaludes. He may have been hammered.
Oh, you're right.
My point is this: we all make mistakes. So, to some people, wherever the mistake happens, it's tough to forgive. However, when you don't forgive a mistake, understand that there's going to be a time in your life. There's going to be a time in your life that someone doesn't forgive you for your indiscretions. So live with that. All right. I forgive the both of you for daring to come on this show with me and challenge me on the damn Cardinals and whether the poor LA Dodgers are getting the rose stem of the flower up their ass. It's just not true.
I'm just so surprised, Tony, that you're willing to take such a stand on a team that's managed by a guy like Davey Roberts.
Well, no. I've said, am I right up today? I said, listen.
Here we go. I
want to play the Dodgers -2.5. However, my metrics tell me that that probability is slim because I not only have to overcome Davey Roberts, I got to overcome his boyfriend, Jansen, at the end of the game. So I'm not doing it. It's -1. I'm telling you right now, Dodgers -1. I don't play run lines on home teams. I will, however, play a -1. It reduces my risk. And if they win by 1, I push.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have Noli Nose mentioned here. I don't know if you guys know him, but he's multiple years now. A couple of my first shows I ever appeared as a guest. He was a guest on as well. Mm-hmm. And it was during, I believe, President Trump's campaign, Make America Great Again. Well, Noli knows.
What the hell happened? Go ahead.
Well, I'm not going into that. I'm just saying Noli knows had his
I don't want to go to that.
He had his own campaign slogan, which was "Make unders great again." And Noli knows is a professional bettor that loves the under. And he likes the under tonight. Make unders great again.
I have the answer. I know how to make unders great again. Raise the under to 10. Unders become great again. For 5-10 too.
This guy's slogan obviously worked then. Because 4 years ago, it probably wasn't the case.
What do you mean?
With unders, people were betting overs in football, like they still do. You know why? Because you're always in the game. That's what they tell me.
I'll tell you what I've told you many times. You're a winner. You are a winner before the game even starts.
Well, here's my. I'm going to say this about the baseball game, and then we're going to move over to.
Listen, guys.
Jesse Auburn.
I'm 20 minutes late for my studio gig too, so I was supposed to be at 1:30, and
What's your free pick?
My phone's rang. My phone has dinged a couple times. I'm sure one of them is my producer saying that son of a bitch is always late. He's not a very good person. You're right. Okay.
Do you have time to tell us your free pick, or you
I have time to order another McDonald's vanilla shake.
That explains it.
I had to get that
explains
in because
the rant, guys.
McDonald's, they
too much sugar.
They give me a discount.
Imagine Joe West drinking one of those.
And I imagine Joe West drinking 10 of those.
Yeah, it's protein shake.
Protein shake.
Oh, I had a question for you too. I'm sorry you have to go, but I know this is like his farewell year, thank God. And, I don't talk negatively about too many people, but this guy is so effing arrogant that I was told by somebody yesterday that when he was asked by a reporter if he was going to be behind home plate, he said, you're not supposed to ask me that. And I'm not supposed to answer it, but yes, I am.
That's right.
I mean, within 24 hours before game time, we know he's the home plate umpire.
He's like a Harvard professor. Well, I think that's I think that's a stretch, but he's like a professor that's tenured. They can pretty much do whatever the hell they want. They can't get fired. And that's where these veteran umps, the newbies
why
now.
Why doesn't he get fined? Why isn't the commissioner have some balls and fire him for doing that?
Go to his website, Country Joe West. He is a country and western stud. If you don't believe me, ask him.
I'm taller than him, and I'm not scared of him. But I'm scared of what impact he could have on this one game, and that's one of the things that could go wrong for both teams.
Again, I'll say it in my I said in my write-up. I'll say it again right here, and that is, if as sure as the sun comes up in the east, Joe West will have his face in a camera or inside the headphones of a instant replay. Promise you. Now,
will he throw somebody out?
Will he maybe not tonight, but
will he eject somebody?
Season. Will he? I don't. He will.
Will he eject somebody? I would love to make that bet.
Well, Joe West isn't. Listen. Joe West doesn't. You know what happens when he eject people? He doesn't do a lot of that. Why? Because then they have to leave. He wants to be there, argue with them, be on the camera. He believes Joe West, and it's fact. He believes he's part of the show. That's the problem we have. No other sport, not football, not hockey, not basketball, no other sport do the officials act like they're part of the show. Major League Baseball. They're a reflection of Major League Baseball owners who are billionaire pricks, who are if they were 30, they're millennials. They care about nothing. They care about no one. They don't. But their bottom line, and that's a reflection of what's going on in minor league baseball right now. Now I know there are aberrations, there are exceptions, guys. There's going to be somebody that's going to hear me say this and say, "You don't know this owner." I don't, but I know a lot of people have been in front offices, a lot of baseball front offices, and it's rare that you find that Ewing Kauffman, a guy that was, he said his only goal was every player is going to be taken care of. He gave lifetime contracts, Ewing Kauffman did. Lifetime. Quisenberry, Brett, all those guys got lifetime contracts. In fact, there's some that are still being paid because of Ewing Kauffman. And Ewing Kauffman was a drug dealer. He was a pimp. He was a drug dealing pimp. He made more money from his pharmaceuticals, and there's guys still. He just said, I'm going to outspend Steinbrenner, and we're taking those sons of bitches down. And he had a higher payroll than the New York Yankees. Most every single year he was the owner until he got ill, and then it went into the trust, and then it got passed on to Glass, who screwed crap up, and Glass sold and this and that. The best hire they ever made was, they went to the guy, the GM for the Kansas City Royals when they were an expansion franchise was Sherholtz. And then Sherholtz had done such a good job, in a matter of no time at all, less than 10 years, he'd already been in 3 playoffs and almost made it to the World Series. Made it in 80, very good job in Major League Baseball. Long story short is this. Baseball, like no other sport, listen, you saw it this year, guys. You saw it with the goop, with the tack. These owners will say, listen, until our brand needs a Band-Aid, we're just going to turn our head. It happened with Sosa and McGuire. It happens all the time. In 2019, the dead ball era started. That was the year they hired a commissioner. Why? Because baseball owners refused. They hired guys to be in the stands to collect baseballs that went in the stands because they were going to use the same baseball for the whole game. Why? Well, baseball was expensive. It was $3 then, which is the equivalent of $100 a baseball now. But until the guy got killed, the baseball was so dark, so black, so beat up, and it was getting dark. He got hit in the head with it and killed him. Then that's when baseball said, "Well, damn it, we have a scar on our brand." Yeah, that's when the commissioner came into play. But that's what baseball owners do. It's deny, be blind until we're forced not to be. That's the way they've done business. They still do business. And it's despicable.
Who's your free pick so you can go and not get fired from your producer?
Ooh, yeah. I'll
I'll
tell him that I made it. I tell him that I was doing a show with the Devils, and he's going to say, "Which one of the Devils were you doing a show with?" And I said, "Well, I don't know any of those Jersey guys' names." But long story short is this: my free pick. My free pick is Scherzer over a half total base plus 335 at Penny. Here's what has to happen: Scherzer 1 for 3 lifetime against Wainwright. Scherzer takes one for the team. Wainwright bounces a curveball and it hits him off the bounce. He takes first base, a walk, anything, a base. All he has to do is get to first base. And with Joe West behind the plate, plus 335 is probably still not what you need. It's not true value. However, it's good enough for me. And if there's a free pick for tonight's game, that's what I'm giving now. Plus 335 pick that every time Scherzer goes to plate, you're either hoping he closes his eyes and barrels it up, or he gets hit with a ball. What? That's a lot of fun. When you're sitting next to a person and they're rooting for the guy to get hit with a baseball, you're saying, well, what kind of masochist, what kind of horrible person? Well, I got plus 335. And then I would say, keep yelling. I agree with you. And I become a bad person again. So, yeah. Scherzer, Mad Max, stick your butt out there and take one for Tony.
He probably will. Well, Tony, I know you have to get going, but thanks. This was a show that.
Well, I'm sure sorry that I ran the doctor off because he knew I was going to ask for medications off the shelf behind him, and that I bored you guys to tears and monopolized the conversation. My apologies, everybody. Don't listen to me. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. Bet the Cardinals because I'm all over the Dodgers. Make Wainwright, the next the baseball's MLB's martyr, and they'll start erecting statues of him. They call him, Saint Wayne. Right. Gotta go, guys. See you.
All right, Tony. Have a good night. Thanks, man.
May all the wins be
yours.
Mine.
I didn't know we were allowed to talk
when he gets going, boy.
On the show.
What's that, Jesse?
I said I didn't know we were allowed to talk about penises and vaginas on this show. I didn't think
we're protected by a lot. We are. We are protected quite a bit. We have extensive freedom within reason. That was getting pretty close, though. But I mean, he was trying to make a point. Wasn't necessarily insulting anybody. I mean,
it was entertaining. Anything but boring.
Oh, it was. It was a hell of a lot better than listening to me talking about golf. But the numbers didn't go down. I get to see the live viewers here all the time. So I mean, they certainly didn't go down. They probably actually went up a little bit. Like people were saying, "Oh my God, this guy's on a rant." But it is entertaining because he draws those analogies in that make you kind of go, "What?" But then he somehow makes it make sense, and I guess that scares me when something like that makes sense. I go, "Ooh." I do know one life lesson though it's kind of funny. I remember when the baseball players like McGuire and those guys went down to Congress, and they were grilling Rafael Palmeiro, and he finally stood up and said, "I have never taken performance-enhancing drugs in my life." And then I thought, where have I seen this before? This is true. Where have I seen that action before? It was Bill Clinton. I have not with that woman. And so anytime anybody does that to me, I know they're full of crap.
I thought McGuire handled it better when they asked him why he takes androstenedione Dion. He said, it helps my performance in the bedroom.
That's right. Yeah, it has nothing to do with recovery. Nothing. But anyway, So I'm going to add to that baseball game prop. I like actually Dylan Carlson on a flyer here to hit a home run plus 550. I figured, what the heck? I literally looked at the prop bets and tried to pick one that was that didn't make any sense, and that's what I came up with. Pizza money. It's $10 the way we're keeping our records for the show, and Nolly Knows had the first 5 under. Rob Vino mentioned that yesterday for both games, and I'm going to do the same strategy, and it worked pretty well last night. If that goes under 4.5, and specifically 3 runs, 2 runs, 1 run total by both teams, or no runs, I will then bet the in-game over. And I think in these one-game showdowns, once a team, if it happens, gets like a 3-run lead like we saw last night, it's even against the Yankees. It's done and over with, and the only thing that's going to happen is there's going to be some meaningless runs scored to either widen the margin or what have you. But it was pretty easy that went over 10 runs last night, and I think you can see the same thing tonight, unless Scherzer and Wainwright go head to head for 8 innings, and then they bring in Jensen to blow the game. Which then tomorrow, you guys, you will definitely want not to miss the live version of this show with Tony, Finn, and I think we'll get Jesse to come back tomorrow, even though he's only on Wednesdays, just to grill him a little bit. We could be the reporters and he could be the athlete.
Well, even more so when I tell you that I'm taking the Cardinals on the run line tonight for the same reasons that you were suggesting. I mean, the Dodgers, whatever, regardless of what Tony says, and I don't disagree with what Tony says, I just think it's hard for the Dodgers to think of this as an opportunity. They've got to be viewing it more of, whether they're going to admit it or not, it's more of a punishment than an opportunity. They came up short, and they not only that, they poured their heart and souls into trying to catch the Giants, and they came close. They were it was in play right up until the final day. So they never got a chance to catch a breath. They had to fight and claw the entire time. St. Louis, on the other hand, had the luxury of losing their last 2 games to the Cubs, catching a breath, and St. Louis can hang their heads high regardless. They've accomplished something incredible just by being in this position. And again, I don't want to take away from anything that Tony said. I agree with everything he said. I just think that doesn't always translate into wins. As a professional handicapper, we all know that we go with the stats. We go with, the statistical analysis tells us one thing, and we're lucky to win 60% of the time. That means 40% of the time an anomaly. And given the price on today's game, I'll go with the dog.
Well, I'm my 4%er. I'm going to give it out now. I'm on the Cardinals money line. I'm letting it all roll. But if you are listening to this before the game starts, I think a good bet that is taken off of Jesse's plus 1.5 best bet is you would take 60% of your normal bet size. So if you bet $100 on a 4%er, for example, you would take $60 and put it on the run line on the Cardinals. Then you take the remaining $40 and put it on the basically 2-to-1 money line. And I call those combination wagers. And if you do those kind of bets over the course of a Major League Baseball season, it will add more to your bottom line than take away. We call it the sprinkle, but this is a different kind of sprinkle because it's 40%. It's not a sprinkle like 1% or less. But that I agree with you. And betting against favorites with a money line between minus 175 and 250 with a winning record on the season, and is on a 6 or more game win streak, has earned a 28-28 record for 50% winning bets over the last 5 seasons. That's awful, right? No, it's not. You average a plus 197 underdog bet, and you're getting 50% wins, which is basically like getting 2-to-1. It's like the equivalent of winning 100 and losing 50, but your record is even at 50 and 50. This one's 28 and 28. So a dime better has actually made $24,500 on these 56 games over the last 5 seasons, and that is proof positive again. And I wish Tony was here because he loves these kind of things. That ROI is everything. So if you go win percentage, and I say you and I want to promote our play. Hey, we're 50%. Get our underdog winner tonight. How many people would buy that? Zero.
Not many.
But if I say I've made the dime better, $24,500 on this incredible MLB betting angle, that's going to sell more. So it's what I'm trying to point out. It's all not about promotion, but it's about evaluating your performance using ROI, especially in these money line sports. And lastly, I call these things blackjack angles, drawing on the casino game. So in blackjack, let's say you went to the casino, you played 6 hands, you won 28, you lost 28, and maybe you made a few bucks because you hit blackjack a couple times. However, in this betting system, this would be akin to going to the casino, and every time you won a hand, you got paid $197 for every $100 bet. It's the same thing. 28 and 28 record. Casino odds are basically 50% on blackjack. Some say it's a little bit different, but I don't. We're not, trying to split hairs here. But in this betting system, I'd rather stay away from the blackjack table and play this when this thing pops up, and it pops up tonight. So over time, Dodgers might win 10-0, Jesse. You know that just as well as I do. But over time, if you keep playing this betting angle, it's going to work for you. I mean, it's stood the test of time. It actually goes back 25 years. But I thought I'd only mention the last 5 have been actually the last 5 are worse than the previous 5 to make the previous 10. In other words, from 2011 to 2016 was under 500, but still made money. Anyway, I hope everybody got that, and I hope everybody wrote that one down because that one's a good one. And then I had a couple prop bets. I gave you the Dylan Carlson. It's a home run. Obviously, we think the Cardinals are going to win. I took the team total over for 1%, and I actually took 1% Wainwright to record the win at plus 330 because I think that's, as Tony mentioned, that's inflated as hell. I mean, if there is a prop bet out there that is just up through the roof, where I think the betting community is saying that there's absolutely no chance that Wainwright has to win this game and get the W. I'm willing to take that chance for pizza money. I'd rather do that than lay minus 500. Anyway, I guess we have time here yet to. No, it's only, what is it, 5:08? No, it's not that late. I thought Tony talked longer than that. But let's talk about Georgia and Auburn. And this is a game I think you wanted to speak about, Jesse. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind speaking about that. I guess at the time I was just trying to cool Tony off. Didn't know where he was going with some of the.
Yeah, I took the hint too. I was, but when he gets motoring, it's an 18-wheeler going downhill without brakes. But I actually like this game from the Auburn side. But I want to hear what you think on it first, and then I'll chime in.
Well, I guess the key is Daniels going to be able to play at quarterback for Georgia, or is it going to be Stetson Bennett? And I'm inclined to say if it's Stetson Bennett, then yeah, I like I'd look at both Auburn plus the points as well as the under, because I don't fancy Stetson Bennett very much. I think I think their offense is a lot better with Daniels in there.
Yeah, and as we know, Georgia has pitched back-to-back shutouts the last 2 weeks, which hasn't happened too much historically. But those teams in the following game after back-to-back shutouts are 9-8 straight up and 6-12 against the number of the last 10 seasons. Granted, a pretty small sample size, but that's 6-12, especially with a new quarterback under center. Makes this play quite interesting. And Auburn is not the Auburn of last year or the year before. We saw them play a whale of a game against Penn State until Penn State they took over the game in the second half. But they're I think a team that is better than advertised, and Georgia's coming off that very emotional 37-0 win against Arkansas. I just, they're not going to regress. I think it's more of a situation where the market is giving Auburn too many points, and Auburn might be just a little bit undervalued here. And in a great spot, having Georgia coming off that big win and back-to-back shutouts. So that's that one. And then I also thought, well, I think you liked, if I remember right, the Florida State-North Carolina game, I think a little bit, right?
Yeah, we did that video there yesterday morning, and already had a comment from somebody on the YouTube channel saying that they don't like the play because Florida State makes too many mistakes. And I was quick to chime back that that's why you're getting 17.5 points. You don't get 17.5 points if you're playing a team that doesn't make mistakes. So yeah, no, I really like Florida State in that game based on the history between the two teams. They played 4 straight games decided by 3 points or less. Florida State got the upset last year at home against the Tar Heels, and the Tar Heels are kind of on again, off again. You know, they can score points. They got a great quarterback, but they have weaknesses. And just a couple of weeks ago, Georgia Tech was able to exploit those weaknesses, and I kind of think that the Tar Heels can use that same script to perhaps record an upset or at least hang in there and cover the 17.5 points. So I do like Florida State this weekend.
Yeah, it's good too. I like it. I like that one too. And if I may remember right from the show, I think I researched that since 1980, North Carolina has only been favored in this matchup 4 times, and this being back-to-back years. And this is the highest favorite, in other words, the greatest favorite UNC has ever been in the matchup, going all the way back to 1980, which is quite a long time. So I think that's interesting too. Other programs now have gone, they flipped basically. North Carolina is not enjoying the late Bobby Bowden's glory years, but still, Florida State is a team that's certainly not on people's radar, and to your point, probably quite a bit undervalued in this matchup, and do have an axe to grind against North Carolina. I also like
coming off their first win of the season, so there's reason for them to have some positivity and some signs that they're doing things right, rather than continuing to make the same mistakes over and over again.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And I like Mississippi here to bounce back. Both them and Arkansas are coming off, pretty large lopsided games. Mississippi's wasn't nearly as bad as that 42-21 score looked like after I actually watched the condensed version of the game. They went for it on 4th down 5 times, failed 3. And of those 3 failures, Alabama scored 21 points. And then you throw in the fumble, and it's 28-0 at half. So I think the gunslinger side of Lane Kiffin got him a little bit, and they just simply, I don't know if it was because of fear of giving the ball to Alabama and wanting to keep their drives alive to stay in touch and keep pace with the scoring, but it didn't work. But this week they're playing Arkansas, and when you get steamrolled 37-0, and you're between the ages of 17, 18, and 22 or 23, it's hard to get over that kind of loss in a week. And I don't care who you are. Even golfers that have the mindset instilled in them that it's one shot at a time, one hole at a time, and they have very, very short memories, just like the best hitters in baseball. They're not thinking about the strikeout or the home run they hit in the previous at bat. They're trying to get another hit. But in this case, I think Arkansas is going to struggle to get that next hit after being, just dominated on both sides of the ball against Georgia. Mississippi, however, they're part of the woulda, shoulda, coulda club now. Had we not done this, had we not done that, maybe it would have been closer. Maybe we would have given them a game. But Mississippi now is at home. And I think they're a solid bet for this Saturday's action. That game starts at noon. So good stuff there. So I guess we can call it for today, Jesse. It was fun having the doc on, but then I guess he must have had a client. But he
Dodgers,
truly
he's going to be upset when he sees the show and sees that he missed such an interesting conversation.
I can't wait to see what well, Tony Mejia will definitely be on tomorrow and Friday, and Rob Vino too, I think. At least tomorrow for Rob. So
it'd be interesting for a reaction from Tony with whether the Dodgers win or lose. I guess he'll either be gloating or he'll have some explaining to do.
I guess he will. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Like we gave out enough picks. You're on the run line, so I'm going to put you down for the run line.
That's my premium pick for today, by the way.
Yep, and I'm going to do the money line, Cardinals. And then we have Scherzer over a half on total bases. I like that too. It has nothing to do with his skill set of pitching. But he's so right about Joe West, though. I mean, that's where his knowledge is pretty darn broad when it comes to little nuggets, that money-making nuggets that not many people really think about, I think. And it makes us all better, that's for sure. We have to do one thing yet. Here we go. Jesse's favorite topic.
The golf
here. So I'm going to bring up the player list here. Which is right here. And then I'll get rid of the comment. So these are the 19 players. Wait, is this the right one? Yeah, it is. Looking at my Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, so I copied this off of that. So we have, I think that is the right one. Let me just double check real quick. I definitely want to bring up the right one here. Yeah, that is the right one. Yep. All right, so cancel, and here we are. So these are the guys that I would recommend using in your DraftKings pools. And if it says 8 out of 10, that means I like, and this is all based on numbers. Mito Pereira, as Tony Mejia would teach me to say, definitely should be in the majority of your DraftKings lineups. Obviously, not all of them. I did based on 10. And the weighting said that he should be in 8 of them. So if you're playing 5, then you probably should have him in 4 of them. So he's expected to do well. Sam Burns won last week, and when he won the last time, he nearly won again the following week, coming in second. And he really could have, woulda, shoulda, coulda club. But he played well enough to win. So don't think that for a second that he should be off your radar. He's one that I would add just from my intuitive side because he's not listed here. But Ian Poulter has been playing at a very high level for several months here. Didn't play exceptionally well at the Ryder Cup, but that's not a individual tournament. Taylor Moore is 2 out of 10, and he would be a guy that I'm going to have for a top 10, top 20. And you're getting pretty good value on him, too. In fact, we'll make that one of the show bets. So Taylor Moore, top 10 and top 20. And then Cameron Tringale, same thing. And Mito Pereira. So let me quick look at what the current odds are here for this, so you have an indication of at least where they are. Golf. And this is the Shriners Hospitals for Children Open, which is a really cool tournament because of all the good things they do in raising money and awareness and education for children's diseases, especially children's cancer. And let's see. Yeah, I'm going to put Sam Burns down here too. He's actually fallen out of favor here, but I'm going to take him at plus 4-1 for a top 10. I won't play him for top 20, but Sam Burns top 10, I think is a pretty good bargain. And then we have Cameron Tregali. He is 35-1 to win. He is 7-1. And 3-1. Top 10, top 20. We have Pereira, 50-1. 50-1. And then we have 9-1 and 4-1. And I think Taylor Moore yet. Which this will be really juicy. And Taylor Moore is probably one of my favorite guys to have, is in that $6,000 to $7,000 range that allows you then to get some of the more expensive players. Taylor Moore, 100-1 to win, and it's only pizza money, so we'll bet 100-1. And then 20-1 and 9-1. So I like that. So even if you just play the top 20s that I just gave out. That's a hell of a little portfolio of PGA golf bets. And then I think McNeely is playing in a matchup over Matt Wolff, and I know Max on Record loves the matchups that I give out, and I actually like them too. But if that's the case, I would take McNeely over Matt Wolff, and I think that's all I have for the Shriners, which is taking place in Las Vegas, by the way. All right, so I think that's all we have now, Jesse. But before you go, you got any big promotions going over at Sports Memo, hot streaks, anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I've been doing pretty well with CFL lately. I think if you look at the leaderboards, you'll see my name up there on the CFL leaderboards, and I've got a total on tonight's game. So that's only $25. You can get it at Sports Memo.
It's awesome. I've been running hot, and I've been told that I should boast more, but it's not boasting when it's fact. I just shy away from the promotion part of this, but you do have to mention the results because people will not know unless you say it. But I am number one in college football. Had another good Saturday. I went 6-1 in the NFL on Sunday. 9-1 with NFL totals. Arguably the one game, Washington, was one of my picks, and they probably shouldn't have won. Again, I can easily make the case there, but you know what? When you're running hot, those things that are really weird happen, and more times than not, they're in your favor. MLB, last 139 best bets I've produced a 25% ROI. So my win percentage is 52.8%, guys, but the ROI is 25% over 139 picks. So there's obviously 48% losses in there of those 139. That's why we always emphasize the ROI, because you would think that I don't know what I'm doing if I told you it was 52% without the ROI. And if you invested, if you're betting $100 per game, that would be $13,900 that you invested in my games that I released, and a 25% ROI would then be 25% of that $13,900 or $14,000. You can make it that. So 25% of that is about $3,500 if my math is right, and that's just betting $100 a game over time. So sure, everybody wants to make $3,500 on a college football NFL Sunday weekend, but it's not worth taking the chances by betting more than what you really should be betting. And you got to have that longevity And you can't blow yourself up in a weekend and then think, oh, geez, I don't know if I would have not done that. And those are the stories that happen far too often in sports betting, Jesse. Guys get, just so confident that this play is going to win, or they buy from somebody that said, this is my game of the year or my lock of the year. I mean, yeah, okay, game of the year. That means you like it a whole bunch. And I always say that some of my best plays, like my 5-unit plays, hit in any given season right around 68 to 72%. But there are years where they don't. And even on a year where I'm hitting 70, I emphasize this 5-star play has a 30% chance to lose. I don't know if it's going to win or lose, but I know historically you got to consider that fact. There are no guarantees.
No, anybody who talks like they know a game's going to win for sure, it's an indication that they haven't been doing this for very long.
And almost, and for guys like you and I have done it a long time, if we heard that, we'd almost be willing to take the other side. Not because we're arrogant. It's just the sentiment, it's all about the contrarian bet sometimes. And it's amazing how that ties in with Wall Street and the career I had there. Because, you want to sell into strength, buy into weakness, just like in the in-game betting. Same thing with the games that we mentioned.
Diversify your portfolio. You're not going to put your retirement into one stock.
That's right. I think we have a perfect example of that Georgia-Auburn game where we're selling into the strength of the recent results of Georgia, and we're buying into the not necessarily weakness, but we're buying a team cheaply relative to its opponent, and almost like an arbitrage. Anyway, I want to thank you for your time, Jesse, and you can let me know throughout the evening or tomorrow morning if you want to attend the Manny's Pub show tomorrow. If St. Louis, I'm actually a Dodgers fan, and to that point, I'm putting out a play based on my models. I believe that St. Louis has a legitimate chance to win tonight. And would I be emotionally disappointed with the Dodgers not having a chance to repeat? Yeah, I would. But there's a big difference between enjoying a game as a fan and enjoying a game as a sports betting professional. There's no comparison. I'm not going to put money on the Dodgers because I want to see them win the World Series. If I wanted to do that, I guess I'd take the futures bet. That's another way to play St. Louis, by the way. I want to end the show, but if you don't like the game tonight, betting, like half of what you normally would bet on a 4% play on the futures bet, even if it's just to make the National League Championship series, the NLCS would pay off pretty big for St. Louis, and that might be a good way to get it. Because if they win tonight, you're never going to see that kind of underdog value again, as long as they're not eliminated. It's never going to be this high. So that might be an interesting way to do it too.
That's a good call, and just imagine the emotional high that they would be riding to upset the Dodgers.
Yeah, along with the 18-game win streak, and they would be taking on. They would go to San Fran, and who's to say they can't beat San Fran? I mean, I know it's all laid out that it's going to be, the Dodgers and somebody, but that's why we love the game. And baseball is very unpredictable sometimes in the playoffs, and it's all about being hot at the right time. Hot pitcher, hot bats. That's what it's all about. But anyway, thanks again for your time, Jesse. I think we're going to see you tomorrow. I have a gut feeling here.
Maybe if the Cardinals win, I'll have to stop by and say hello.
Yeah, I think it's plus 200 that you appear tomorrow on the show. I just, and you won't have pink hair either.
Mm-hmm. Of course, if the Dodgers win, I think you're all on your own. You got to deal with Tony on your.
I'll just mute his mic. Oh, it would be the first time ever, but I think that would be the perfect time to do it. Anyway, thanks for your time, Jesse. On behalf of him, myself, sportsmemo.com, waitertalk.com. May all the wins be yours. Thanks for watching, guys and gals.